Yo, what the deal? It's your boy X.E.L. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And thank you for coming back. But if you are new here, definitely like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. That'll let you know when I drop another video. If you are here to actually get beats, I have a link below called Beats You Need. Or you can go directly to my website, which is XELOHH.com. And here you get all your beat, mixing, mastering, and graphic needs from this one place. If you need it for entertainment, I got it. So go to the page, it's XELOHH.com. But getting back to the video, welcome back. I missed you guys, man. So today I'm actually going to talk about the step sequencer inside of Cakewalk by Bandlab. But let me stop talking, let's get into it. Alright, so here we are in Cakewalk, and let me move my big head out of the way. Alright, so what I want to do is actually go into Satila. I'm going to use Satila. It's something that I'm comfortable with. This is what I actually use when I'm making beats to make them a little bit faster. I can use my pads on my Axiom, or I can use the Mini MPK Mini that I actually have to make, little drum patterns, make it a little easier and faster that way. I do use Complete Control, and I just downloaded a new one that someone put me onto, so I'm gonna try that out a little later. I might do a video on it, we'll see. But let's get into the step sequencer and kind of see how that goes. So let's bring up Satila. So I'm gonna right click in this tracks option here. If you do want to learn how to do this, I do have a video that shows you how to actually make templates so that you can actually pull up things faster, like your Satila or like your orchestra stuff or your 808s. So I have it to where I have my Satila and it's just drums. So I'm going to pull that up and it's already set up. So if I hit on this icon, which is the Midi, it'll bring up Satila by itself. And let me bring this down. All right, so here's Satila, and of course I have my drum sounds in here already. What you want to focus on is this bar here, this one right here that says step sequencer. If you hold it down, it gives you an option to do piano roll, staff view, or event list. We're going to stick to the step sequencer. I like to leave mine on step sequencer just because it makes it easier to pull up. So it pulls up at the bottom here. I'm going to close Satila. Another way to actually get to, the step sequencer to pull up is to go up to views. And once you go to views, you're going to go to step sequencer, and you can also do the shortcut keys is Alt and 4. All right, so this is the step sequencer. I'm going to actually kind of bring up the screen. So I'm going to do Shift D, and that brings up the whatever you have down in your docking station up to a full view. As you see, my console view will have it up. So whatever is down in your docking station will actually come up if you hit D. All right, so I'm going to move this over. So I'm going to collapse this side here, and boom, we have that collapse. So now this is just the step sequencer. All right, so this is 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the kind of beat that it is when I say beats. So if you're doing bars, it would start after this one would be a bar. After this line here would be a bar. So then there'll be another bar, another bar. So you can have up to 4 bars that you can see. At least on my screen, you can see 4. Some people have bigger screens with the, the 4K stuff, and it is what it is. I don't have that right now. So let's actually move you down so you can see stuff. All right, so over here in the right hand side, it gives you an option for rows, right? So you can insert rows, you can delete rows, you can move and shift steps backwards and forwards. You can adjust velocity, you can rename the row itself, and you can also do a fill every 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 steps. Let's go to hi-hats, right? Let's say I put a hi-hat here, right? All right, so you see that it's not on to where it starts on the 1. So you can right click on here and you can do shift steps backwards, and it'll move it back 1 in those steps. So it will be the same if going forward, shift steps forward, it will shift it forward. So that's how you would actually do that. And I'm going to cut the row steps, and that'll remove it off of there. So if I wanted to paste it back, I could paste it. And I could paste it to any one of the other steps as well. But I'm just going to cut it for now. All right, so that'll actually help out if you're actually trying to do, you know, a real quick drum roll or drum pattern, anything like that. Patterns you can actually add. You can load patterns, you can save patterns, and you can clear the patterns that's actually on here. So if you had a pattern that's on here, you can hit clear and it'll clear all the patterns on here. I will save and load a pattern a little bit later in the video to show you that as well. These options, I don't touch them, I don't mess with them. All right, so this is option fixed velocity. I've never really used that, but it's there. So here are your beats, and if you add beats, you'll see it add another beat to our list here. So now this is a 2-bar loop. So the 8 would be, this would be 2 bars, you know, so 16 would be 4 bars. You also have steps in here. So if you were doing like a double time thing, like if you're doing like trap, this is an easy way to actually do like your snare placement. So you know, all right, so this is a boom bap kind of setup. So if I hit the snare here on the white pieces, it'll be, you know, boom, boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. So, and to actually add things in the step sequencer, you just click on it with your left mouse button. If you right click on it, it'll remove it. If you double click it, it'll do a flam. So what a flam is it'll do that like a quick hit that drummers actually do when they actually like miss a step or anything like that. And that brings me to the, we'll get into that in a minute as well. But yeah, so I can do this as 8 as well. And this is a 4-bar loop for trap, and you would just hit your snares on your white parts so you'll know where they usually would actually hit. That makes it a lot easier for people to actually get, you know, a groove going when they're actually doing certain beats. But I like to leave mine on 4 because I'm usually doing boom bap type of beats. So I'll change this first one, beats, and I'll change that to 16, right? So now this is a 4-bar loop. And I don't usually mess with the fourths. You know, it's like messing with the time signature. I don't really mess with that too much. This mono and poly, I don't usually mess with this either. The play, will let it just play from the actual step sequencer, as you see the line going across there. And the record mode is like you going step by step inside here. Because if you hit record, and even if you hit like play, it's not gonna like do like you think. See how this red 1 is only here? So even if it's all the way down here, it's still only gonna do right here on this, whatever you click on for this bar. So like say if I hit the kick, right? As you see, it did the kick. And that's kind of how that works. I don't use it. I'm not 100% sure the complete purpose of it, but I know you can actually use it for, like, say if you're doing a stuttering or a consistent bass that goes do 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 do, like almost like an arp in a way. I can see it being used for that, but I don't really use it. So there's that. And this is to tell you like where the time is on there. But let's get into what the sequencer actually has. So let's just do a real quick pattern. Boom, 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 boom. All right, and let's put the snares in. All right, so this little arrow here, all right, I'm sorry. Let's start from where it should be. So these have their own rows and numbers. This is the kick, and it starts on 36, which would be C3 on your keyboard. Or if you have like a drum pad, it would start at C3. Up here is how you actually add another track in here. So let's say I had an actual instrument that did, the instrument did like pitch bends and different velocity changes and things like that. Satila actually doesn't do that. It doesn't give you an option to like change your pitches and things like that. So if you click on this arrow, it'll bring up your track. So it gives you an option for velocity, your duration. So if the kick was really too sharp or too long, you can actually cut it, the duration, and it'll make it a lot sharper. Kind of like FL, when you actually go in there and you trim your kick, this would be the same kind of trimming that you would do. This will add swing to your drums. 50% means it'll stay in the middle. It'll be a 50-50 thing. So wherever you kind of put your drums, but it'll offset it if you do the swing either way. You have a time shift where it'll actually make the timing off for the actual note that you actually place. And there is the Flam. So the Flam is at like 25%. I believe it only goes up to 50. Yes, 50 is the top where it goes. And down here would be where you would actually change like your time offset. Or you can do like the probability that it'll actually play all the time, yes or no kind of thing. So if you had a hi-hat, you can actually set this to where it'll actually play every once in a while. So that'll give you a really cool swing to your drums or whatever you have in here as a step sequencer. It does do a pitch bend. If your actual VST allows the pitch bend, you can do the pitch bend in here and change your bending of the actual track. Of course, it has pan, volume, so this is only if your VST is actually supporting that, which this Satila does not. It doesn't support any of this down here, so it won't do it. If you try it with Satila, I believe it'll work with other things, but I haven't really tried, just to be honest. Yeah. But let's move along. So in here is the velocity of your kick. So if I wanted to raise the velocity of all of them, I can just kind of click at the top here where I want it and just drag my mouse all the way across, and boom, now I have all of them at the same exact length and height and quality. So I can do that for my hi-hats as well. So let's go into the hats and let's do a right click on it. So if I right click in here, I can give an option that says fill every step like it does up here. So if I go to row and I do the fill every, this is the same thing as doing it right here, right clicking on it to do it. So I'm gonna do every 2, and I'm gonna actually bring and randomize this velocity of the other hat, so that'll give it a different kind of feel and swing to it. More of a humanized kind of feel. All right. And now what I can do is do a time offset. So I'm gonna offset it by like 6 seconds, right? So the hi-hats will be kind of sluggish and you'll hear and feel the groove from that. All right, so as you see, you get a different groove and feel when you actually do that in here. So what I want to do is let's do a flam for the snare. Let's do this last snare. Let's do a flam, right? And this flam will offset it, whether it's forward or backward. This is like the speed of the flam. I believe the more you go toward the right, toward the 50, it'll push the actual thing back. So it'll be like a later flam. And the quicker means that the quicker the little hit will come, then the flam or the real snare will actually come in after it. So let's do about 18.5. As you heard the flam in there, it gives it a nice little feel to it, you know, especially if you're doing more of a hip hop kind of basses on there. So that's always good. So I know I have more tracks than this, and Satila has 16. This right now is only giving me 12. So if I hit this plus sign right here, I can insert more rows. So I'm gonna do 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Nope, I did that completely wrong. And I'm gonna remove the ones I just did. So I'm gonna hit this X, and that's a good, I guess, new window to it. So X, 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 and X. All right, wrong way. All right, so as you see, I can actually make multiple of this snare. And if you had a VST that can change the pitch or velocity, you can actually have it to where you have more than one, say, hi-hat. And you can do your little snare rolls or whatever you want to do in here inside the step sequencer instead of doing it in the piano roll. So it does give you that option to do it in here if you have that capability from that VST. But what we wanted to do was go to this top one. If you click on this top one and then you hit the plus sign, it's going to add a C4 channel. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. Those are the 4 that we want, the C4. So these are all 16 channels inside of my Satila. So this is another way of actually getting all your drums in here into the step sequencer. So let's say this is what you wanted, it came out. If you wanted to, you can actually do a right click on here and you can do a bounce to clips. I have mine set as Control B, but I'm just going to do it from here just in case you don't have yours set up. So I'm going to bounce to clips, right? And what this does is actually brings this, what we did, into the piano roll. So if I double click it now, it's going to bring up the piano roll. And as you can see, this is my flam that I did right here. I'm going to try to zoom in on it so you can see it. All right, so as you see, there's 2 Ds there, and you can see down here, this is the flam. It starts a little early, and then boom. And as you see, my hi-hats are not on the grid. They're slightly off the grid by a couple of milliseconds or so. So that's what kind of gives those the swing, plus the velocity changes that I actually put on there. But yeah, so this is where you can see the flam for the track. And this is, if you wanted to add extra things in here, you can add like another hat. If you wanted to do that, you have that option to do that in here as well. So let's say that you wanted to add more drums into the mix, but you don't want to do it in the piano roll, you still want to do it in the step sequencer. Or if you already have your drums laid out here in the piano roll and you want to actually do it inside of the step sequencer, you can actually close your piano roll. Just close this. And I'm going to hit D to bring up just the regular screen here. And I'm going to click on the actual track. And I'm going to right click on it. And when I right click on it, it'll give me an option in here that says convert MIDI clip to step sequencer. And what this is going to do is actually pull all that stuff from the piano roll and make it into a step sequencer. And it's going to ask you what resolution you want it. And I'm just going to preserve the original timing. So if you wanted to be on grid, you can take off the original timing. So if you did like a hand drum pattern, you probably want to actually preserve your original timing if you like the way you did it, or you can have it snap to the grid by taking that off. I'm just going to leave it how it is because I offset my hi-hats, so hit OK. And now when I actually double click this, it'll bring up the step sequencer, and only the tracks that I use. All the other tracks are not going to be in here, only the tracks that you actually used in the step sequencer. So if I wanted to add the rest of them, I can just click on this top one and hit the plus sign, and I'll get my other tracks if I needed them in there at all. Let's So these are just a couple of ways you can actually use this step sequencer in Cakewalk by Bandlab. Really, really useful tool. I use it a lot. It is something that does have to grow on you if you've been used to other step sequencers, like per se, like a FL. If you're coming from FL and trying to use this, it kind of has that same feel to it in a lot of ways. But of course, in a lot of ways, it doesn't. I like the way you add different things on here, the looping process that it kind of has. This is almost like doing this in FL. You have your little tray things in here. You can switch the velocity and you click the different things to make it do different things, like down here. But I mean, it's pretty much a really good way of actually laying down a quick beat to get your production started if you wanted to do that. It does give you an option here to put your own pattern. So if you do have patterns that you saved, so I can save this as a pattern. So I can say save as, right? And then it shows my step sequencer pattern. And let's just say and I'll save that, right? So now, if I delete it, and I go into pattern, and I go to load pattern, it'll load up my pattern exactly what I did in there. So really, really good, useful tool this step sequencer is. I think it'll give any DAW that has a step sequencer a run for its money. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the end of the video, guys. If y'all did have like any questions about this, definitely hit me below in the comment section. Y'all know I'll get back to you on those comments. Anybody that actually comments on there. I'm gonna start doing some shout outs, man, because I feel that I need to shout you guys out for actually leaving comments, and thank you guys. So anybody that posts 800 in the comment section will get a shout out on my next video. So there's that. And if you haven't liked, subscribed, and you watched this video all the way through yet, oh man, come on, man, let's do it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can know when I actually drop videos like this. But once again, it's your boy X.E.L.O. Until next time, people. Peace.